It's rare, almost unheard of, for a seventh round draft pick to become a team captain even once. But Zack Strief, he did it 5 times. And not only that, he played every single offensive snap in 2 record-breaking seasons for offensive production under Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints. But what he did in New Orleans, it's nothing compared to what he accomplished with the Denver Broncos offensive line last season. This man didn't just coach a line, he rebuilt an identity. And now, heading into a new season, the big question is, what's next for Strief and this offensive front? Let's not forget where this team was just a short time ago. In Russell Wilson's final season with Denver, the offensive line was falling apart. Pass rushers got through like it was nothing. And while Wilson certainly held onto the ball too long at times, he was sacked a jaw-dropping 63 times, the most of any quarterback in the NFL that year. That's not just bad, that's historic. Fast forward to today, and the Broncos now boast one of the top offensive lines in football, ranked second best across the entire league. Same core players, same talent level, minus Lloyd Cushenberry, who was arguably the best center on the team. So how did this group improve, even after losing a key piece? There's only one answer: coaching, development, culture, all led by Zack Strief. While many pointed fingers at Russell Wilson, the real transformation happened in the trenches. The Broncos didn't just fix a problem, they built a powerhouse. Some blame the offensive line's past struggles entirely on Russell Wilson, but let's be honest, that's just not the whole truth. Yes, Wilson held the ball too long at times and invited pressure, but even when he didn't, the offensive line simply wasn't holding up. In 2022, the Broncos' offensive line allowed pressure on 27% of dropbacks. That means on every 100 passing plays, defenders broke through 27 times. That's the second worst rate in the entire league. That kind of protection will break any quarterback no matter who's under center. But what makes this story so remarkable is what happened next. Just one season later, with the same core personnel, the Broncos went from one of the league's worst protection units to being the absolute best at giving quarterbacks time in the pocket. On average, Denver quarterbacks had 2.7 seconds to throw, an eternity in NFL terms. Think about that. Holding off Myles Garrett for nearly 3 seconds, that's not just impressive, it's unheard of. And yet this offensive line did it consistently. Field Yates even highlighted it. Denver's offensive line ranked number 1 in pass block win rate and number 1 in run block win rate. That's total dominance, both in the trenches and in the stat sheet. The league took notice. Multiple Broncos linemen earned Pro Bowl nods, and Quinn Miners, a guard from the tiny University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, was named All-Pro, recognized as one of the best at his position in the entire NFL. That kind of leap doesn't just happen. It's the result of elite coaching. It's the result of Zack Strief. And the league noticed that too, because this offseason Strief got a major promotion. Before we dive into that, let's rewind and take a closer look at a player who defines this transformation, Lloyd Cushenberry. Even during the Broncos' worst season up front, Lloyd Cushenberry still managed to shine. He graded out well, even in the chaos, and when he spoke about his growth, he gave full credit to one man, Zack Strief. Cushenberry publicly praised Strief for his development, saying he played a massive role in helping him secure the big contract he earned in free agency. And it wasn't just words. His final year in Denver, Cushenberry ranked as the 5th best pass blocking center in the NFL and 12th overall at his position. But the Broncos, still buried under Russell Wilson's massive dead cap hit, couldn't afford to keep him, so he signed with the Tennessee Titans. And then he fell off a cliff. Cushenberry dropped from the 12th best center in the league to 49th overall, from top 5 in pass protection to 47th, from 15th in run blocking to 48th. The only thing that changed, no Zack Strief. That alone tells you what kind of coach this man is. He doesn't just prepare players, he elevates them. And it's not just Cushenberry. Garrett Balls, once considered one of the most penalty-prone linemen in football, has publicly spoken about how much he values working with Strief. When Balles re-signed with Denver, he took less money to stay. Why? Because in his words, Strief taught him to see the game in a way he never had before. He finally understood how to play within Sean Payton's system, because Strief had lived it. He wasn't guessing, he was guiding. Remember, Zack Strief was a 7th-round draft pick who became a 5-time team captain under Drew Brees and Sean Payton in New Orleans. That experience matters, and now he's passing it on to Denver's offensive line. You can literally see the transformation, and for longtime Broncos fans, it still feels surreal. There was a time when after every big play, we were just waiting, scanning the screen, dreading that yellow flag. Holding, number 72. It became a haunting soundtrack, but now things are different, and that's because of Zack Strief. But here's the thing, those old holding penalties, they didn't happen last year, not the way we were used to. Garrett Bowles, once infamous for drawing flags, had the cleanest season of his career. Even as he's gotten older and lost a step, Bowles saw a dramatic improvement in discipline, and he credits one man, Zack Strief, and he's not the only one. Mike McGlinchey, a veteran tackle, spoke openly about how different it feels being coached by someone who's actually walked the walk. Strief isn't drawing plays on a whiteboard and guessing what linemen go through. He's lived it. He knows what it's like to line up across from a team's most dangerous edge rusher and be told, protect your quarterback for 3.7 seconds. No excuses. That experience makes all the difference, and the players feel it. Even Matt Pert, a swing tackle who had bounced around the league, shared how Strief broke him down to his foundation, rebuilt his technique from scratch, and gave him more confidence than he's ever had as a pro. Strief knows how to teach, how to connect, and how to inspire. He's not just building an offensive line, he's changing careers, changing attitudes, and changing expectations. The NFL saw the Broncos as a 5-win team last year. Now, the expectation is 10 wins. That kind of leap doesn't come from hype. It comes from hard work, coaching, and culture. Zack Strief has redefined all of that for the Denver Broncos, and it all started with Sean Payton believing in him. Back when Strief was just a 7th-round pick out of Northwestern, Payton saw something in him, gave him a chance, made him a leader. Now, years later, when Sean Payton picked up the phone and asked Strief to join him in Denver, Strief was settled in New Orleans. He had a stable job, a home, and his family there. He was the voice of the Saints on radio, but when Sean Payton calls, you answer. Because to Zack Strief, Sean Payton is more than a coach. He's the man who changed his life. And now, Strief is doing the exact same thing for the Denver Broncos. This isn't just a success story about coaching. It's a masterclass in leadership. Sean Payton has always had an eye for talent. Great leaders don't settle. They find other great leaders, and that's exactly what he saw in Zack Strief. Because of the impact Strief had on the Broncos' offensive line, Denver didn't just keep him around. They elevated him to assistant head coach. It's a title that shows trust, value, and belief in what he brings to the future of this franchise. And thanks to the resources of the NFL's richest ownership group, the Broncos were able to make sure this elite coaching talent stayed in orange and blue. The result? The entire NFL is starting to take notice. Pro Football Network graded Denver's offensive line at a staggering 99.5, ranking them number 1 in the NFL, and the biggest reason? They're returning all 5 starters from last season. That kind of continuity up front is rare, very rare. Field Yates and Mina Kimes echoed that sentiment on ESPN. Fantasy Pros and Sharp Football Analysis, run by a former NFL scout, both ranked the Broncos' offensive line second best in the league. There's a growing consensus. This line is special, and that's just the beginning. Sean Payton himself said the offensive line did its job in the run game last season. It was the backs who left meat on the bone. That's going to change. With a healthy J.K. Dobbins, an explosive R.J. Harvey, the versatile Jaleel McLaughlin, and the punishing presence of Audric Esteem, this backfield is built to wear down defenses. By the fourth quarter, no one will want to tackle these guys. And that rushing attack, it's going to explode behind this trench unit. Even Mike McGlinchey, a veteran who's played on some strong lines, said this group is unlike anything he's experienced in his career. Returning the entire starting unit, that almost never happens. Add in the young, hungry depth behind them, and suddenly this isn't just a strong offensive line, it's a complete wall. As training camp approaches, the message is clear. Denver isn't just building a team, they're building a bully, and it all starts in the trenches. This offensive line room is absolutely loaded, and it's being molded by a former NFL lineman who knows exactly what it takes to thrive under Sean Payton. Frank Crum, who posted the fastest 40-yard dash of any left tackle in his class, is quietly developing behind the scenes. He looks like a future starter and could be the natural successor when Garrett Bowles eventually steps away. Then there's Clay Webb, who many believed had third-round talent before legal concerns temporarily clouded his future. Now fully exonerated, the Broncos may have stolen a gem as an undrafted free agent. Add in Xavier Truss from Georgia, a massive, technically sound lineman with national championship experience, and the depth chart suddenly looks dangerous. This isn't just a good offensive line, it's a pipeline, and it's all being shaped by Zack Strief, who is here for the long haul. He's not just a coach, he's Sean Payton's guy. He's a foundational piece of this Broncos rebuild, and with Strief in the trenches, the future doesn't just look bright, it looks unstoppable. As we head into training camp, the Broncos have one of the most underrated coaching staffs in the NFL. They're developing talent, they're building culture, and they're turning weaknesses into weapons. With guys like Strief leading the charge, it's no wonder national analysts are starting to say, watch out for the Denver Broncos. The energy is real. The identity is forming. And for the first time in a long time, Broncos country has every reason to believe.